Hi, Salimonani, this is Uyibe Gola.
And this is Yanela Makishi,
And we are Y&Y. Yes, family, and we are finally back on your screens. We have missed you so much. You're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, and of course, your subscription. We have missed you family so much, and as we have promised in our previous episode that we're coming back with a very intense, close to our hearts and sensitive topic. However, we have attempted the topic, but we are not in a good space to release it as per yet. So this is not the episode.
This is not the episode, but we always promise you guys new spicy topics.
Yes,
because you know that we're always dealing with wisdom, love, and life. And today we're gonna be dealing with one of those elements. So you're gonna enjoy our show.
Yes, they will definitely enjoy our show. But before we get to the topic of today, we'd like to thank you so much, family.
Yeah, that is
you guys have been sending us DMs and messages asking us when is the next episode coming out. This shows us that you are interested in what we have to say. And for that, we are forever grateful. And we cannot wait for you to give us your own views.
That is so true. That is very true, guys. You know that we always grateful for your love. Honestly, we don't take it lightly.
We don't.
We really appreciate it. So, moving on to our episode for today.
Yes.
Yeah, I told my friend that when we introducing the topic, I just want to raise my hand.
You'll know why later.
But okay, so our topic for today is Black Lives Matter. Yo,
that's intense.
As you guys know that we are black people, young
Yes.
black people, young black women. That's like worse. We are young black women, and we know how it feels like to be raised in a party whereby you feel inferior. So today we'll be tackling one of those. As you all know that in America, they recently, not recently because this has been going on, but they recently protested against it. The injustice of black people being killed by the police. People are supposed to protect us. People we are supposed to cry to. So as you all know the story of George Floyd. That's an intense story.
May your soul rest in peace, sir.
Yes, that is very, very sad story because his life was ended by one of the white policemen, to be clear about the description, guys. But the story is not only the beginning of racism.
Yes.
It's not the beginning of the injustice, but it's one of the things that made a lot of people to rise up and say, you know what? This must come to an end.
It's enough.
Yes, and we raised our flag saying, Black Lives Matter. So I'm going to introduce you to this story. As actually a lot of you know about it, so we don't have to tell you.
Everybody knows about it.
Yeah, everyone knows about it. But we're going to be tackling on the matter of Black Lives Matter. And you know that in our show, we always participate in both sides of the story. So this is going to be interesting.
Really interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So must I move on to the topic?
Yes, please.
But before I move on, I need to ask my sister right here.
Okay.
Just give me your best description of what racism is, because that's where the root of our episode is going to be.
Okay. I don't know if this is the best definition whatsoever, but for me, racism would be the privileges of color.
Wow.
And it would be the stereotype system that automatically defines a specific race according to their skin.
Yeah.
That would define a group of people and that will label them on a specific characteristics, intentions. Will already know their motives and all of that because of the color of their skin. Now that is racism. For instance, if I see a black person, I already know that this is a robbery. This is a rapist because he's black. Now that is racism. The disadvantage of being inferior and the advantages of being superior.
Wow.
Between human beings. We're all human beings, but there's a group of superior people and a group of inferior people. Now that is racism.
Wow, that is a perfect description. As you all know, I know a lot of people probably think that this has been said before, we all know this and blah, 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 blah. But what we are trying to say is that what we are trying to bring to you guys is two different sides of the story, and we want you guys to understand from our perspective, not that what we say is correct,
Obviously.
not that the way we're going to define it is how you're going to define it.
Obviously.
I just want to take us back to the history of black people, not only in South Africa, but I'm going to be specific in South Africa, but not only in South Africa, but across the whole world, where black people were positioned to be slaves. So they were positioned in the slavery system, and whereby they were not given their rights to live as normal human beings. We're not supposed to walk anywhere we wanted to go.
Okay.
We're not supposed to do the things we wanted to do. We're not supposed to pursue education in a certain level, but we're limited. We lived a life of limitations because there were boundaries for us. We didn't have same rights as the white people. So much that when in 1994, peace and reconciliation was introduced to the Republic of South Africa,
Yes.
and people were given the rights to vote, they were given the rights to walk freely without passports, they were given the right to live a life of a human being. When that took place, a lot of our people felt very privileged. They felt very advantageous. Remember, these were people who were not allowed to pursue education in a certain level. So now they're being told that you can study in your own language, you can study your language, you can go as far as you want in life, you can even dream as big as being the president of South Africa. So imagine for people who were in slavery for years, and now they are pushed, being told that now you can live as a human being. That was seen as an advantage, guys.
Okay.
That was seen as a privilege. But now for us who were born after 1994, we were born into this advantageous life whereby we knew that as a person I have a right to walk around without a passport. Nah, that was not a privilege for me. It's a privilege for someone who was not exposed to that. For me, I was born into it, so it's not a privilege for me. When we were born, our generation, we knew that this is how a human being is supposed to live. It's not an advantage, not being advantageous to me. If you're telling me that now you can vote, no, of course I can vote.
That's my
because
right. What do
That's
you
my
mean?
right. So that is a difference between our generation and the generation of our forefathers, is that our eyes were open to see that the advantages that our forefathers think they got from white people are not actual advantages.
They're
but
just human rights.
They're human rights. But the system was carried from our forefathers till our generation. And that system says a black person is inferior and a white person is superior. And that is the truth. So that is the fight we are still fighting today.
Even today.
Today, we're not fighting people who says, we're gonna come to my face and tell me that Yonela, you are black and I don't like you. That's not what we're fighting. We're fighting people who look at me and think, you're not worthy of this position because of the skin color you
Imagine.
have. That is the system we're fighting. Now, how would you tackle people right now who are going on about, no guys, all lives matter?
Why did you have to sound like that though? Anyways, I have no problem with people who are stating the obvious.
Yes,
It's obvious,
that is
guys.
true.
All lives matter. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm one of the people who are saying that all lives matter.
Matter.
But I have a serious problem with people who have a problem with me saying that Black Lives Matter. No, then that's a huge problem, because why do you take it offensive when we say that Black Lives Matter?
That is true.
Because on the statement that says all lives, are we excluded?
Very true.
Aren't Black lives lives?
Yeah.
Are we excluded? Because when we say that Black Lives Matter, we're not trying to discriminate other races, no. But we're trying to give exaltation to black people. Why? Because we need it.
That
the
is true.
system is in favor of white people. The
Ah,
economy
that
is
is
in
so
favor of white
obvious.
people. The way you guys live, the way they stay, however, everything is in their own advantage.
Exactly.
Yes. So now why is it a problem when I'm just stating it that Black Lives
Matter, because that is not obvious.
It's not obvious, guys.
At all.
Come on. I also want to hear that, by the way.
That is very true. Guys, we live under a world where it's there's a lot of systems, but there's one system that is in charge, and that is the racism system operating against the races. And if we do not want to acknowledge that, that's where the problem is. But I just want to make it clear that all lives matter is an obvious statement, But Black Lives Matter is not an obvious
not.
statement. That
It's
is why
not.
everyone now is rising up to it, saying all lives matter, because that is not obvious. So that is why we are busy saying all lives matter. Black lives matter. So your all lives matter. It's an obvious statement. It's literally calling Ramapata.
Imagine.
It's obvious, guys. Really.
Yes, and to add on that, my friend, when we say that Black Lives Matter, why would we say that White Lives Matter? Because you guys already know that you matter.
You matter.
Even us, we
know
that
you matter.
Come on,
True.
you don't
And
need
you
us to
know
say
that we know that you matter.
Exactly. And why can't you let us, allow us just to boost now our own
Self-esteem.
self-esteem?
That is so true.
Okay, my friend, I have a question for you. Now that we're already here, living in this world that is like this, how would you say that white people have landed in this arena?
Situation. Yeah, I understand. The problem is this, guys. This is a system that white people inherited.
Okay.
Ne? It was literally given to them. And this is a system that black people were raised under. So this is something that is very hard to understand.
Okay.
A lot of people actually, a lot of white people are not well informed of what racism is. What they think is that racism is literally hating black people. No, that's not racism. That is hatred.
Yo.
That is someone who has emotional issues.
Yo.
For someone who hates black people, that person needs a psychologist. You need to sit before a psychologist and tell them about your childhood.
Confess your sins.
Maybe something happened to you at home when you were young, but you have a serious problem, and that is not racism. Racism is literally looking at someone's skin color and position them. It's literally looking at them and saying, because of your skin color, this is what I'm expecting from you.
Yo.
Not because of what you've achieved, what you've acquired, where you've traveled, how you were raised. No, not any of that is relevant. Your skin color is gonna tell me who you are. That is racism, guys.
Imagine.
That is literally racism. That is the battle we are fighting today, because a lot of people are thinking that we don't want to be understanding. I have a lot of white friends, and sometimes they think I don't want to be understanding. And the problem is this: no, you being friends with me does not mean you're not racist, my friends. It means that you are human. For a white person to be friends with a black person, that's humanity. But it does not isolate you from racism, because racism, it's when you expect me as your black friend to do certain things and behave certain ways and position me in a certain level than your other white friends. Now, that's racism.
That's racism. My friend, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We spoke about a lot of things. We spoke about the system, the inferior ones, and the superior ones. And something that just came into my mind right now, that there's this thing where a white person would bump into a black person and automatically think that, okay, this person's gonna rob me.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the other day, is it really called racism? Is that really being racist? Because sometimes I'm also afraid of black people. I can't, because there's a place here in Cape Town called Kailicha. You can't just walk at 10 p.m. with your phone like this, because someone is going to come and that person is a black person. Is going to come and take your phone without your will. So would you call a white person who now is afraid of black people a racist? A racist person?
Okay. That is a good question, because a lot of people have asked that. And this is the thing, that this is how I'm going to answer it. So as a black person who's afraid of other black people, this is how you differentiate it. Someone who's afraid of a particular black person,
Okay.
or someone who's afraid of black people.
Okay.
Ne? So for a black person, if I was raised in Kailicha, of which I was, so living in Kailicha, be experiencing robbery first time, second time, the third time, you kind of expect it. So when you see someone dressed in a certain way and they approach you, you kind of feel threatened. Oh, are they gonna rob me?
You're already
Because
afraid
it
of
triggers your experience. But for a white person who has never walked in Kailicha, who has never been robbed by a black person, automatically they see a black person and their emotions are triggered and they feel like, oh, this person is gonna rob me. Now that's a difference. Those are two different people. So in this, we're talking about prejudice, and then we're talking about racism.
Okay, again I have a question for you. Do white people necessarily have to go through the process of being robbed for them to say that black people are robbers.
No, they don't have to go through that process because this is the thing, guys. If now I'm coming from Khayelitsha, right, and I move into Camps Bay, I stay in Camps Bay, and my white neighbor is afraid of me. That's the thing. White people,
So basically, they're afraid of us
anyway. You move to Camps Bay, they're afraid of you. But for a black person, if you see a black person in Camps Bay and that's your neighbor jogging,
You chilled.
Are you scared?
No.
But if you see your black neighbor in Khayelitsha jogging at 2 a.m., are you scared?
Yes.
That is true. Why? Because of the places. So it's not necessarily the person that you're afraid of, but it's the situation that causes you to be afraid because of what you've heard about the situation. But for white people, it doesn't matter if you're a black person who's a CEO for Eskom and you stay in Camps Bay. They're
still
afraid of you.
Now that is racism.
That is so true, my friend. So, but we need to move forward, my friend.
Yes, we do.
Like, how do we move forward from this, guys? What do we do? Because I have a question. Right now, we are protesting against the injustices that are being made with black people. Like, a lot of black people right now are suffering and they are crying, and their cries are not being heard because there are a lot of people who are trying to suppress our cries. So, what I have a question for you is this. Do you think protesting, being violent and angry and bitter is wisdom? Protesting from a level of anger, from a level of being literally hurt, do you think that's wisdom?
By the way, wisdom doesn't go hand in hand with bitterness.
Okay.
If you're a bitter person, you will not be able to function freely in wisdom.
Okay.
Because just the dimension of wisdom, it's a place of peace, it's a place of rest. You're able to think thoroughly, you're able to think proper because you are at peace. So you can't function in wisdom when you are bitter. You need to heal first so that you'll be able to partake now in wisdom. Yes. And I would say that trying to fight or end the system that is in favorable of certain people with anger or violence will not help us.
Okay.
I must say that white people are intelligent, and I know they're watching this. Babes, you guys are entirely intelligent. I know we're also intelligent. But as for black people, to fight or end this system, we need to be educated. We need to be informed.
That is true.
We need to be at peace.
That is true.
I think now with this state of mind, I understand why Nelson Mandela came out of prison and said, peace. Peace. Because he knew that for us to take it from a place of apartheid into a place of freedom, we need peace.
That is true.
There are certain changes that needs to be made, certain transformations from our minds, our mindsets. We need to function in a way now there's not stereotype or caged in the previous way, but for us to be able to live freely and engage in this new system of freedom, we need to be at peace. So if you want to fight this, if you want to end this, I would encourage me and us black people to unite first. Let us be skilled. Let us be involved.
That is very true,
Let us
guys.
be aware and let us be informed.
That is very true. Another word I would use is let us be strategic. When this system was built, it was built for years, guys. This was not a system that was built overnight. It was a system created for years because they wanted it to last many years. So if we're gonna fight this, we're not gonna fight a system that's not violent, that is not physically outrageous, with physical abilities. We can't do that. That is why we need to also be strategic about this. And the first thing that we're gonna do is say Black Lives Matter, and that works.
I would like to add something on that though. For us to be able to end this, I think we need to unite. Black people, unite. You must unite, because if we are also divided, how can we make now the whole entire country to be united? We as black people need to be united. And one more thing that I'd like to add, we need now to boost ourselves. Let us take back now our dignity. Let us
Sure.
take back our identity. Let us take back our origins. Originally, we're not created to be slaves.
That is
We're
true.
also created to be human beings.
That
And
is
by
very
virtue, we have spheres and places to dominate.
That is
So
very
if we
true.
bring back our confidence, we'll be able to fight the system that is trying to bring us into lower levels of being slavery.
That is
so
very true.
confidence is one of the major keys.
That is very true. Step number one that I would advise my people to move forward. Believe that your life matters. For us to scream out in front of white people's faces and say Black Lives Matter will not help if you do not believe that you matter. Look into the mirror and tell yourself that I matter. I shine and I was born for a purpose. And that wherever I go, in any room that I enter, I matter. I do not need people to actually praise me, exalt me, to believe that I matter. So believe it, my Black people. Believe it that your life matters. Live it. Live what we're saying from your heart. When you say it with all of your heart and all of your strength, so that the upcoming generation will know it, that they matter.
We matter.
We matter.
We matter.
That
I
is
think
so
we actually
true.
need to hear this more than white people need to
That
hear
is
it.
very true.
Us black people, we need to
hear
it, and we need to say it from the depths of our hearts.
That is very true.
We don't need to just say it, but we need to believe it, and we need to live it. Now we need to conduct ourselves in a manner of people who matter.
Because remember, we are not trying to be like them. We're not trying to be like people who were so cruel that they took away our dignity. We're not going to take away their dignity. No, but we're going to establish our dignity back.
Bring
Because
back our own
for
dignity.
them, they had to pull us down for them to be exalted. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to be so exalted without pulling them down that
Yes.
they're actually going to fall at their own.
No, they're not gonna fall.
Equality.
Equality.
My friend believes in equality. I also believe in equality. That's
I
so
believe
true.
it.
But guys, read between the lines. We gonna rise so much and stand. And then when we rise and stand, they will
They will
continue.
not collapse. We will all be equal. I believe in equality. Maybe one day we'll be equal. Do you believe it? Okay, now as we all know that we are in this pandemic that is more than coronavirus.
It is.
Because this is a pandemic.
That is
People are literally dying
Dying.
because of racism. Like honestly, they are dying and it's not even funny. So if you were to be given a platform, my friend, to speak to white people, what would you say?
Well, for white people who wants to listen, this is what I would say. I'm a person who believes that a baby must be given milk.
Right.
And that when you grow, solid food must be introduced, and then veg, and then meat. So right now, we are not in a position that we can give white people meat. And meat would be peace. Peace is meat. What we were given in 1994, that was meat. And that is too hard for someone who's a baby. So I'm not gonna come and say, guys, love us. No, that is way too far. That is like literally saying to someone whom you have just began a date with, just on your first date. Imagine saying this with someone on your first date. Love me. That is like meat level. So this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give you milk level.
Okay.
And that is acknowledge that you are privileged. Acknowledge that the system that we live under advantages you and that it glorifies you. You outshine. When people gather, white people outshine because of the system, not because of their skin color. No, your skin color does not make you shine, but the system has exalted you so much that you literally shine, and that in your presence a lot of people feel inferior.
Automatically.
So acknowledge it's not your fault. Don't be defensive. Relax. We are not fighting you. Relax, chill. It's not your fault. You were not there when they were building up this system. It is not your fault. But acknowledge it. Because for me, someone who is racist is someone who does not want to acknowledge that because they are white, they are more privileged. That person is racist.
And on that very same note of being equal,
Equal.
yes, I think we should also acknowledge white people who are living a normal life.
That is
A
true.
life of understanding that the color of your skin doesn't matter. We are all human beings. We all have rights and we all have responsibilities. Thank you for being responsible and matured enough to understand
That's
that
maturity.
we are in this world and we are all equal.
That is serious maturity. Some of you even went as far as loving us. Guys, we're not even supposed to praise you for that.
That's normal.
Because that is normal. To love a person next to you, it's a normal thing. It's something that is done very easy. And we are actually now we live in a world where we have to praise people for loving us.
Just for loving us.
This is not praising. We're just acknowledging that you're doing that because it's not done. It's absolutely rare. So that is why we actually acknowledge it. But this we're gonna thank you for is you standing up boldly for Black people, saying Black lives matter. For that, you deserve this one.
You deserve
Because that
it.
is boldness and courage to stand alone. We have seen a lot of white people trending, standing alone, standing up for Black people, knowing fully that they're not going to benefit anything from this, but they know that this is wrong. They understand what the system has done, and they're standing up with us. That is absolutely amazing. That is beautiful, and we thank you for that.
Thank you so much, guys. That is humanity. Humanity is to understand another person's pain, even if you're not the one who's facing the pain.
That is true.
Thank you so
That
much
is
for
true.
being
You
matured
don't have
and
to
responsible.
face the pain to know
To
that
understand that
it's
it's painful.
maturity.
No,
It's really
maturity.
maturity.
Thank you so much to everyone whoever watched this episode. We believe that this is the episode where everyone relates, guys.
That's true.
So we're expecting you guys to comment.
Yes. We enjoyed this.
We really enjoyed it and we hope that you guys have enjoyed it as well.
Yes, we're gonna see you very soon again with other spicy topics.
As always, I am Ibe Gola.
And this is Yanela.